Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Shania, and for today's video I want to discuss all the books that I want to get to before the year 2020. I realize that there's only about 8 days left in the year of 2019, so this TBR is very far stretched. I probably will not be getting to all these books in the year, but I wanted to make this so that it can guide me going into 2020 and knowing what books I need to read first if I do not get to them this year. Also, I really want to do a giveaway, so be sure to stay tuned until the end of the video when I discuss what I'll be giving away and how to enter. So I'm finally deciding that I will not be meeting my reading challenge that I have on Goodreads, unfortunately. I was so optimistic that I was going to be able to hit it, but of course life gets in the way, and with the holiday season it's just a crazy time and it wasn't enough time for me to read. So currently I am at 87 out of 100 books that I wanted to read this year, and while that's still really good, I just want to be able to at least hit that 90 mark, and then I feel like I've really accomplished something. So I feel like reading 3 more books is definitely feasible for me at this point. And I mean, seriously, 90 out of 100 books, that's really good. Like, I am proud of myself for that in itself. And if I can read more than the 90 books before hitting January 1st, then sweet. Go me. But at this point, it just probably won't happen because, you know, we have Christmas and a lot of it is spending time with family and doing other things. And then also I have to work a couple days, so that's going to take it out of my time. And yeah, we don't have enough time. Nobody ever has enough time to do anything, so yep. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. So the very first book that I want to get to before the year 2020 is actually one that I've already started, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So I'm actually already halfway through this book and I am loving it so far. I have cried so many times already and we're only like 200 pages in, so I am just having the best time with this book. So this book I feel like is the #1 book that was sold this year in my mind. It was at the top of the New York Times best-selling list constantly, and I know that Barnes & Noble came out and made a list of the top books of the year, and this was definitely on it. It is just one that everybody has been loving, and it's actually a debut novel by Delia Owens, so that is awesome that her very first novel was so successful. If you guys are one of the very few who haven't heard of this book, it's about a young girl growing up in the 60s in North Carolina, and she lives in the marshy, swampy area where nobody else really lives, and she's all on her own. She had to raise herself since the age of 10 and basically fight for survival, and the marsh and the creatures that live in the marsh have become her new family. One day in 1969, a young boy who is very popular in the town and a very well-known person is found dead, and the police are trying to decide whether it's a suicide or a murder, and they come to a conclusion that it was definitely a murder, and now they're going through the suspects of who could potentially be the one that murdered the young man. And of course, our main character, Kaya, who is also known as the Marsh Girl, is the #1 suspect for the murder because she has been segregated from the rest of civilization, basically, and a lot of people find her to be very odd, and she is their very first thought of who could be the one that murdered the young man named Chase. So basically this book is going through the life of Kaya and leading up to the events of the murder and then the trial, and it's a very, very good book so far. I'm very excited to read it. I was recommended by my best friend to read this book and also my dad, so I am loving it, and it has been one that I've been wanting to get to since the beginning of the year, and I just haven't got to it, and I knew I wanted to read it within 2019, so that's what we're doing now. And like I said, I'm almost halfway, and it's so good, and I know out of all these books in this video that this is the one that I will definitely be finishing before 2020. So the next book that I really want to get to in the year 2019 is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This recently came out in October, I believe is when it was released, and it is a first for Leigh Bardugo. She usually writes fantasy and young adult novels, and this is her very first adult novel, and it is a thriller, and it takes place in Yale. So if you guys haven't heard of this one, it's about a young girl who has kind of a rough life. She has a string of like druggy boyfriends and just all in all just doesn't have the greatest life. And then by the age of 20, Alex is the only one who survives out of a multiple homicide, and she gets offered a full scholarship to attend Yale afterwards, and she's not exactly sure why, and there's still a lot of mystery in regards to the homicide that she survived. So she takes this scholarship and goes to Yale and finds herself in the midst of several secret societies within Yale. There's several different houses, and she becomes part of the ninth house, and I've heard that there's like ghosts and a lot of trying to upbring the ghosts. I don't know. I have heard a lot of great things about this, and I don't want to go into it knowing too much because I want it to be told for me. I'm just really excited for this one, and it's been on my list ever since it came out, and I just haven't got to it yet, but I really, really want to get to it at some point before 2020 would be nice. But if I don't, then it'd be a really great way to kick off 2020 by reading this as well. Alright, so the next book is a young adult book that I've been really wanting to get to ever since I bought it this year, and I just have not got it yet, and it is called Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. I just have not got to this yet. It's been ridiculous that I haven't. I mean, one, I totally bought this book based off the cover. I mean, this is gorgeous, you guys. This is the most beautiful cover. And actually, the sequel just came out for this book, Children of Vengeance and Virtue, and I do have that one. I just bought it, and I don't know. I went and I bought it, and I still haven't read the first one, so I don't really understand my reasoning there. I felt like if I bought the second one, it'd make me want to read this one more. And this book was talked about so much was it last year or the beginning of this year? And nobody seems to be talking about the second one yet, so I feel like I need to read the second one so it can be talked about. I don't understand. I haven't seen anybody discussing the second one yet. So I want to get to this one, and like I'm okay with nobody discussing the second one because like then I don't get spoiled at all, which is okay. And I felt like buying the second one was really gonna get me inspired to read the first one, which it has. I originally didn't read this one right away just because I was reading a lot of fantasy at that time when I bought this, and I just felt like I needed to take a little bit of a break from fantasy so I didn't have to do so much world building, and I felt like I was getting all these worlds that I was reading about mixed together. So I took a break from this one, and now I'm ready to dive into it. So I definitely want to get to this one, and again, if we don't get to it, it's definitely going to be read in 2020. So I'm going to stick with my little theme I've got going here, and the next book that I really want to get to is one that I just bought the second book for, but I haven't read the first one yet, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Like I said, I just bought the second one, Starlight, and I haven't even read this very first one yet, so I don't really know what I'm doing at this point. I'm just randomly buying books to buy them, and I'm not reading them as I buy them. Go figure. I have a spending problem. But anyways, I haven't got to this one yet, but I definitely would like to. I mean, if I can get through all these other books, I really want to dive into this one as well. So I actually don't know a whole lot about Skyward. I know that it's a very sci-fi book, and usually I tend to stay away from sci-fi books. They're not exactly what I enjoy a lot, but I've heard that this particular sci-fi book is phenomenal, and I just think that it's going to be great. So I don't really want to know too much going into this book, but what I do know is that there is a young girl named Spensa, and she has always looked to the sky. She's always had a fascination with space and wants to go to flight school and learn how to fly. But there are things in regards to her father, I believe, that are making those dreams not happen, or not happen in the way that she wants them to happen. So that's all I really know about this book, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's why we're going to read it to see what actually happens. So the final book on this TBR, because there's no way I can discuss more than 5 because, like I said, I probably will not get to all of these. But the next book I want to get to is We Hunt the Flame, which this book was so highly talked about this year. And I know it was on the Goodreads finalists nominations for the best books of the year in its genre, and I just haven't got to it yet, but I definitely want to. All I know about this book at this point is that it is a retelling in a way of Mulan. It's about a girl who has to disguise herself as a man, and if she gets found out that she is a woman instead of a man, she will most likely be killed, and she needs to be a man to accomplish her goals. So yes, I basically just described Mulan. But I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I have to get to it at some point. And I feel like if I put it on this TBR, there's a chance that I might get to it. There's a chance I might not, but like I said, it'll lead me into 2020 as being a book that I have to get to right away at the beginning of the year. So those are all the 5 books that I plan on getting to before the year 2020, but you never know. I could read all 5 of those books and more, or I could read only one of those books and nothing else. I have no idea, and we'll see what we can accomplish with ourselves at this point. So now I want to get into the giveaway that I want to do in honor of Christmas time and the end of the 2019 year and the end of the decade. So for this giveaway, I will be giving away a very particular book, and that book is Finale by Stephanie Garber. This was a highly anticipated book of the year, and I feel like it is perfect to give away because it is the finale of 2019 and the finale of the decade going into the 2020s. So if you guys haven't heard of this book, it is the final installment of the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber, and it just seems like it's very representative of our time, and I really wanted to give away a copy of it to you guys since I love you guys so much and you guys have been watching me and supporting me so much that I wanted to give back to you guys. So if you guys want to enter for a chance to win Finale, then all you guys have to do is like this video and then comment down below what your 2020 reading resolution is for the next year, and also make sure that you guys are subscribed to my channel. And if you guys want, be sure to follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter because I may be giving more details about any other future giveaways as well. So like I said, those are all the books that I plan on reading in the year of 2020, and that is the book that I plan on giving away in honor of the end of the year and for all the support that you guys have been giving me this year. And like I said, be sure that you guys follow me on my social media accounts, which I will have linked down below as always. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!